Welcome, guys and girls, to my channel. In this channel, we will be introducing the who's who of the industry, of the travel industry, and personalities that you would like to meet and share info and get information from. Through this channel, I hope I can make this world a smaller place and a safer place. So today we have someone very interesting who's going to be joining us in this channel. And for this person, I think passion is his middle name. I mean, seriously, once you go through this video with us, you'll know how passionate he is about his destination. I always tell him, it seems that every morning you get up, you spray this fragrance all over you, and the fragrance is called Australia, so that everywhere you go, you just spread this beautiful aroma. Yes, guys and girls, this is Nishant, who is country manager of Tourism Australia of India and Gulf, who's going to spend some time with us. Welcome, Nishant.
Hey, Manish, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And I must tell everyone that Manish has been our first, Aussie specialist agent, but not just an Aussie specialist agent. He's now a premier Aussie specialist agent for Tourism Australia. And we've been enjoying this wonderful relationship for almost over a decade now. So thanks, Manish, for everything that you've done for Brand Australia.
Thank you so much, Nishant. And, I can't resist telling my viewers that you have spent 10 years in this industry serving Tourism Australia and bringing Australia so close to us. So thank you so much for your service, Nishant. And also your wonderful team, Samar, Ritu, Madhu, Diksha, Sarah, and Presida. Thanks to all of you all for bringing Australia so close to us.
Absolute pleasure, Manish.
Okay, great. So as we intend to do, we'd like to share some information with the viewers. If you don't mind, I'll start popping some questions. Can you share, what kind of numbers did Australia have from India before COVID?
So Manish, we've had this dream run, and most recently we achieved a new milestone of 400,000 visitor arrivals from India to Australia. And this has been the third consecutive year wherein we have recorded double-digit growth. It's been a year where we've earned the distinction of being the fastest growing inbound market for Tourism Australia. So India is right up there, in terms of the highest growth numbers. And, we are ahead of every other nation, including China, and we are ranked number one amongst all the 15 international markets where we're present in. So that's quite a significant achievement. And most importantly, you must be aware that recently Australia hosted the ICC T20 Women's World Cup. And what a phenomenal success that was. We not just achieved record attendance, record viewership, but we also managed to raise the profile of women's sports, not just in India but globally. So these have been some of our key achievements over the last few months, I must say, before we all got locked down and are spending time within the four walls of our residences.
All right, thank you, and congratulations to you or to Nishant. I mean, it's all your hard work. So, and next question, I mean, just for information, we have about 7 questions, so we'll go step by step. Next question is, when do you think, the airlines will start flying to Australia? When do you think the borders will open?
I guess let's look at Australia first, and we've been reading a lot of reports about the flattening of the curve, in terms of the number of new cases that are reported in Australia, and as a result of that, as government is seriously thinking of reducing and relaxing some of the lockdown measures in states like Western Australia, in states like New South Wales, in Queensland. So I believe that Australia could be one of the first international markets to open its borders, firstly to domestic tourists and then possibly to international tourists. In fact, the Prime Minister of Australia and New Zealand are also talking about creating this bubble wherein they would allow free movement of traffic between these two countries, and that's an encouraging sign. I guess what's more important and equally important is that we need to see a flattening of the significant increase in itself, and I guess the onus is on each one of us to ensure that this number flattens Australia.
Sure, yeah, that's a valid point. What about consulates? I mean, everybody's so concerned about the consulates opening, about the visas that they are holding. I mean, how do you think that will work once things are bouncing back?
Manish, we are also closely in touch with the Department of Home Affairs, the body that's instrumental for processing of visas in India. And at this point of time, whilst they're accepting all the applications, they aren't processing them because they would start processing them only once the borders open. So, that would give every tourist the maximum validity of the visa that is granted to them. So we will come back to you as soon as there's further clarity.
Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the big question which everybody wants to know. What is going to happen about cricket? Is it going to happen or not going to happen?
Well, that's a pretty interesting question, and the good news is that we've already got almost over 18,000 people or tourists who have already booked their ticket for the World Cup games in Australia. So again, we are closely working with the International Cricket Council, the ICC, and there are four options which they have in front of them. The first option is obviously what we all want. We all want domestic and international tourists to travel to Australia and watch the games at these iconic stadiums like the Sydney Cricket Ground, Melbourne Cricket Ground, Adelaide Oval, WACA, Gabba, and those magnificent stadiums that Australia have. Uh, so that's the first option where we have both international as well as domestic tourists. The second option would be to organize these tournaments with only domestic tourists in case the borders don't open. The third option is, something that they're exploring to have these games without any spectators on the ground. And the fourth option probably is to postpone the game to a later stage in case, the borders don't open till such time. I guess it depends on the confidence of the authorities. It's the confidence of the Australian government, the chief medical officer, to have almost over 95,000 people under one roof at the MCG to watch the games. So we all want the games to happen, but I guess, as I said earlier, safety and security of not just the people there who are working, but also every single spectator who comes to watch the game is taken care of. But Manish, also what's interesting is the fact that the Indian cricket team will be traveling to Australia for a 4-test series after that, which will take place in December and January. So just in case if the World Cup gets postponed, you also have the Border Gavaskar Trophy, which coincides with the peak holiday booking period for Indians, during the Christmas, New Year celebrations in Australia. The honeymoon period kicks off then. So we believe that we have two major events happening in Australia, and we look forward to having more tourists and welcoming more tourists from India to Australia.
Yeah. Sure, now everybody must be praying for this to happen. I mean, this is on top of the agenda. I mean, even before we shut down for this COVID, people, we had so many calls, so many bookings that we just left it in midway. So I'm sure all must be just praying for things to just recover so that they can watch their favorite cricket in Australia. So lastly, I would like to know, I mean, I'm sure post this COVID, and once things start bouncing back, social distancing is going to be the number one priority everywhere. And I know Australia anyway is a very safe country, and y'all do stress on safety measures everywhere. But how do you think the hotels and the tourist attraction like a sit-in coach or your opera house or your Sydney Aquarium would handle tourists maintaining social distancing?
As I said earlier, Manish, we are in touch with the Australian Tourism Export Council, and they would possibly create a checklist and maybe have certain kind of certifications to list themselves as either COVID-free or COVID-ready. So at this stage, they're talking to various industry bodies, various associations, and just to ensure the safety and security of every single tourist who visits them. So as a part of that, there would be certain measures and certain directions and rules that we'll have to possibly follow just to ensure that everyone's safe and secured whilst they are holidaying in Australia.
Okay, that's good. I'm sure we have full confidence in the systems and procedures that Australia would deploy. Finally, is there anything you would like to tell our viewers, who is just waiting to get their foot in Australia? Is there anything you want to share or tell them? I mean, it's all yours.
Thanks, Manish. Manish, you've been selling Australia for almost like 15, 20 years now. And you you definitely know that there's truly nothing like Australia. It's a destination that has got everything for everyone. Right from the Great Barrier Reef to the theme parks on the Gold Coast to the Great Ocean Road Drive in Melbourne and the MCG to the Sydney Opera House and the Harbour Bridge to Western Australia to Kangaroo Island and the Red Centre in the middle. The Uluru or the Ayers Rock. There's so much diversity and so much that Australia has to offer. Great food and wine, great beaches, great culture, great wildlife. It's a destination that's fit for everyone, and whether you are a honeymooner or a young couple traveling to Australia, or your family with young kids, or if you're living a nice wonderful retired life, it's a destination that offers everything for all generations who want to travel together. The other advantage that I see is the fact that the October, November, December period, or the first quarter of next year, the Jan, Feb, March, is the ideal period for travel to Australia. So there's the summer, because Australia is in the southern hemisphere, they enjoy summer in the months of December, Jan, Feb, and that's a perfect time for everyone to visit Australia. So all your customers and everyone who unfortunately couldn't take a holiday this summer vacation in India could possibly look at traveling to Australia for the upcoming Diwali holiday season or during the Christmas and New Year period. And as I said earlier, we have the ICC T20 World Cup, which could possibly happen between that period or may get postponed to next year. And then we have the Border Gavaskar Trophy also taking place. But it all depends on when the borders would open and when we would allow this freedom of movement between the two countries. So I'm quite positive and optimistic about the future. We have got some tremendous opportunity, and I would urge everyone to be positive, and because India is all about positivity, and so is Australia. So that's something which is really common about us. We love celebrating festivals. We love traveling with big families, and we celebrate life in general. So I believe it's time for us to be positive. Do not give up on your travel plans. I'm sure a lot of people have gone through a lot of personal hardship during this particular period, but it's time for us to recover through that unfortunate and unprecedented times that we've all gone through, and look forward to a brighter future.
Thank you. I mean, this is the kind of passion that I've been talking about, and this is how you inspire all of us. That's the reason why I like selling Australia. Thank you, Nishant, for recharging me from the Australian front. I'd like to thank you so much, Nishant, for spending your valuable time. I'm sure you're busy with so many other meetings, as you were telling me. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us and with my viewers to share valuable information. And hopefully, as you said, we are going to bounce back and hit the roof soon. Thank you, Nishant.
Thank you so much for the honor and the privilege. Thank you so much, Manish.
Thank you so much. So I hope you all enjoyed the channel and the information that we got. So if you liked it, request you to please subscribe, ring the bell, hit the like button, so that as and when we get more information, we can pass it on. And I'm sure you'll find a lot of value in the meetings that are coming up. So please look forward for it. And until then, thank you for watching. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye-bye.